Premier League, I'm sorry to say, I'm a big Premier League loyalist, but now maybe they should name it Premier League farming industry because Guardiola has officially turned the Premier League into a big farm, the most popular farm in the world, if you would like to say. Welcome to another episode of the Betting Expert Nigeria show. There's a lot to talk about, but this is going to be a very emotional segment, not for me, but for those on set anyways. Once again, I'm your host, Kolade, and here with me in the studio is Cerebrone and the Duchess of Sport. And without further ado, let's get into today's discussion. So finally, it has happened now. I should actually be wearing black today to mourn Arsenal, but Cerebrone is doing it for me already. He's already wearing black for me.
That's what I want.
What was I expecting?
What did you think was going to happen?
What did I think was going to happen?
He was thinking there could be an Aguero moment.
What was going to happen? I said it in my bet builder tips, and they played out correctly. By the way, I actually got my bet builder tips correctly for Manchester City versus West Ham and for Chelsea versus Brighton. So that's the only thing that matters today. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, 4/5. I got 5/6. Yes, now it was just the yes, that's the problem. It's the Liverpool and Wolverhampton and Wanderers game that spoiled it, and that red card. Yes, I get both teams.
Roma 200 card. That's why I just scored.
Exactly, 1-0. Anyways, let's go into the topic of today's discussion. The Premier League. I'm sorry to say, I'm a big Premier League loyalist, but now maybe they should name it Premier League farming industry because Guardiola has officially turned the Premier League into a big farm, the most popular farm in the world, if you would like to say. Congratulations to Manchester City once again. It pains me to say, but they are champions for the fourth time. First time an English side has ever done this. How big of an achievement is this, Cerebrone?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Guys, why are you so excited? Why are you so excited? Like, bro, why are you excited to talk about this?
I prayed for moments like this because I remember back in the day. I'll take you back to 2016. You remember that game where Everton beat Manchester City 4-0? I was outside. I was just, because before that day, at the start of the season, there was this question that was asked on Twitter: who's the best manager in the Premier League? I wrote Pep Guardiola, Joseph Guardiola, all the variations of his name. So that day, when that 4-0 happened, the whole Twitter quoted that tweet. I was out. I just opened my phone. I just saw 1,000. Like, what happened? I started to see them laughing at me, all of that. I said, okay, don't worry. One day, we'll see. And I mean, I'm proud to say that now, nobody even doubts that. It's good to see that, Man City have, imprinted themselves, because in the early days when they first came, they were struggling. We're trying to establish themselves as a top side. Remember the days of Robinho and, all those guys, De Jong and those guys, and things weren't working out. And then all of a sudden, Pep comes, they restructure. Pep comes in to be like the crown on everything, and they've just been incredible. 6 titles in 7 years. They told me it cannot happen in England. They told me Pep cannot do it. This is not La Liga that they farm. This is not Ligue 1 that you can just be winning title after title. But here we are.
Anyways, quick one for you, Duchess. Like, Rodri made a particular statement when City were lifting the title and he said the only difference between Arsenal and City this year is their mentality. Both sides have quality players, but only the mentality separated City from Arsenal. And he gave a particular example, saying when Arsenal played City at the Etihad, Arsenal went there to draw. They didn't go there to win. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, if you talk about the mentality, that's one thing you look at. Going into the end of the season, City went on 23 games unbeaten run. Even to the end of the season, 9 games straight wins. That tells you what they need to do. And for Arsenal, I think that's where they lost it. Especially
they lost only once.
Yeah, I know they lost only once, but that's the problem. That one is the problem. You look at that season that Liverpool lost lost the title to Manchester City. That same one loss. Talk about the 90. Look at the points gap. Just very deep. If Arsenal had won that game against Aston Villa, they would have won the league. You look at the point. Just they would have won City. Whether City won their game or not, Arsenal would have won the league. So it's the mentality. Look at the first game, the game yesterday. just win, score first. City knew what they needed to do. City have always had the mentality of a winner, and that's the difference between them and Arsenal. But I know there's still a difference in depth when it comes to the squad. Rodri might want to just sugarcoat it. There's a difference in depth. You can't have a Kevin De Bruyne go out on injury, and then you have a masterclass like Foden coming back to that central midfield position and make it seem like no one is missing.
But guys like Oscar Bob decided games.
No, yes, they decided. No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying for the depth. Yesterday, Arsenal did not have Saka, and you could see that disconnection in the midfield. You could see Odegaard trying to do almost all the Partey was not even really in that game.
Well, then I think that comes down to coaching, though.
No, it's not just coaching. Players have to take some games by themselves. It's not even Messi would tell you there are some games that they had to win it because they are players and not because of the coach tells them this is what you should do. And so I think that's the little thing that is lacking for us now.
You know, I could mention like 10 different occasions this season where Arsenal players won the game by themselves, but we will not leave here if I go into that. So for the sake of moving on, let's just move on to more topics for us to discuss on Phil Foden. You know, I think when he scored those 2 goals for Manchester City, you started to see conversations like, this shows why he was the player of the season, blah, 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 blah. Take nothing away from him. He's a proper brilliant player. He can play in multiple positions on the pitch. He can score, he can pass, he can create, he can do everything you ask him. He can track back as well. But player of the season, of the entire season, surprised, deserved, or a bit in between?
Well, I might have a bias because I really love Foden,
right.
But so I have to like
You've been
state
supporting
that.
Foden since when? 2018.
Yes, I'd like
since his breakout season.
All it took was seeing his first touch, first time, and then that competition that they beat Spain in the final, I think it was under 17.
Yes.
I didn't expect that Spanish team to lose to England. The way they beat them and just took them out, and then Foden was at the center of that. So, seeing Foden grow and seeing all the things that have been said about Foden, I always say people lie a lot about Foden. And I think it happens with a lot of Manchester City players. I saw a lot of lies. Like, I've seen Foden dominate in a big Champions League game against a PSG. I've seen him ball out.
Don't mention PSG. Don't mention
PSG.
Don't mention
Champions
Sorry,
League
don't
team.
mention PSG.
No, don't call them a big
He
Champions
was
League.
a Champions League semi-final against PSG.
Not
Don't
with
mention
PSG.
With Neymar.
Thank you.
Not with PSG.
Don't mention PSG.
That was PSG. Yeah. You know, and this is Ligue 1 slander, by the way, but okay. But I've seen that happen, and then people act like it never happened. Every time Foden does something exceptional, people just try to focus on something else or try to rewrite history and all of that, and it always happens. So this season, seeing him come into his own, there was a tweet where someone was like, oh, now there's no KDB. This Foden that people say can carry Man City, let's see.
Okay, but in a nutshell, is he a deserving player?
Absolutely. And he saw everything that people were saying on Twitter, and he decided to show out. 19 goals without penalties. The highest in the league was 20, Haaland. And Foden is not a striker. And beyond all of that, beyond the scoring, and he scored the most goals from outside the box. That's magic. That's pulling something out of nowhere. You know, and we saw that again on the final day, beginning of season, end of season, everybody is tense, there's pressure, and he comes and he relieves that pressure within 78 seconds. That is what a star player does. That is what a player of the season does, and he showed it again. And for me, fully deserved, absolutely fully deserved. I think that beyond even the goals and the assists, the play was beautiful.
Okay, so well noted, fully deserved for Phil Foden. What's your take on the matter?
He's deserving. He deserves it outright. I don't think if there was any doubt on Phil Foden being the Premier League player of the season, you would then have to look at that final game. City needed to win, and he just pulled off that pressure, gave the first goal and the second goal. In these kind of games that matters the most, that's when big players step up. And Phil Foden has shown that at the age of 23, you already have 6 Premier League titles to your name. You've won the Premier League Young Player of the Year twice. It just shows constant progression. 2024, you've now won the Premier League Player of the Season. It's just that you can't take it off him. There were other outstanding contenders. We can't say that, but definitely there'll be one winner and Phil Foden stands out among them.
Okay, so I think I have to be objective enough to say Phil Foden also deserves it based on, especially when you consider that City won the league yet again, and on the final day he just showed his mark once again why I am that guy. So I think I have no grudges with that. So now that the Premier League has come to a close, and here on Betting Expert, you know, we encourage people to learn from their betting mistakes. So on that note, what did you learn from this season? Like, what was that key takeaway that you learned while betting on the Premier League?
Well, for me, it's adapting to what is happening. I think generally we have our biases, and we also have tunnel vision when we have a particular way that we like to play.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to look at what is happening, not just what you've like preconceived. What is happening? Okay, Man City are not in form, or they lost their last 2 games. Why am I still betting on Man City to win, straight win in an away game or something like that? You know, just because it's Man City. But it's not about that. You also have to look at the facts. You have to look at what is happening, the trends, and follow that as well. So it's about finding a balance. Sometimes this season, I just went to what I always felt, okay, it's Man City, it's Arsenal. Arsenal always score within the first 10-15 minutes or something like that. And maybe it didn't happen that day because I didn't notice that, there's something different that's happened today. Maybe Arteta has gone with a different approach, or maybe the opponent is actually in form and stuff like that. So it's about just, not just going with your preconceived notions about what's going to happen, but also looking at the facts sometimes and not getting carried away.
Okay, so what did you learn from betting on the Premier League?
What I learned is more of not adding too many varieties, because sometimes it could spoil the soup. You could
You're always cooking.
yeah, you're always cooking. So if you see something, because I feel one problem is trying to increase the odds.
Yeah.
So because let's say I go straight, Arsenal has been winning, so I'll just give Arsenal a straight win, and I'm like, this odd is too small. Let me add something and let me tweak it a bit. And when you tweak it, at the end you realize that it's that extra, maybe that pinch of salt to give it an extra taste that spoils it for you. So I think reducing the varieties, it's one thing you need to look at.
Okay, so those are very good ones. For me, what I learned is a little bit of tweaking what I already know when it comes to betting. The Bundesliga is known to be a scoring league naturally, but for me, in terms of betting this season and when it comes to goals, Premier League was that season for me when it comes to the goal market.
Yes.
Premier League delivered for me in terms of the goal market. I can say maybe 70% of picks when it comes to over 1.5, over 2.5. They came through with goals.
Even
in fact,
goal.
West Ham Newcastle, there was a game. I think I made a silly mistake of playing as saying, they won't score. They won't score up to 7 goals. It was 3-0 at 64 minutes. They won't score up to 7 goals. That game ended 4-3.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
There were 2 late goals in the 90th minute. So like Premier League has been that season of goals for me, and it's just going to have to make me
the Chelsea Manchester United game.
United.
No one believes Chelsea was going to win that game. And
Chelsea Master as
Palmer
well, the
just scored
4-4.
Exactly. So these are the kind of things we've learned from the Premier League season. But away from the Premier League, when we are back from this short break, we'll be discussing other leagues and other trending topics. Stay tuned. All right, you are still on the Betting Expert Nigeria show, and don't forget our golden watchword: bet responsibly and gamble with money you can afford to lose. And on that note, let's continue our discussion, lady and gentlemen. So now, away from the Premier League, which I'm happy to get away from, let's move on to other leagues, and particularly the League One. Mbappe at this point has already confirmed to everybody that he is leaving League One. We don't know, maybe he might go to Arsenal or Sporting Lagos or Lekki United. We don't know where he could go to Eimba. Literally, the door is wide open for Mbappe to go anywhere. I could even decide to call him and sign him for my club. Exactly. We don't know what will happen. But what we do know is that the League One will be without Kylian Mbappe next season. I dare say anybody that wants to quote me can quote me. Mbappe is the greatest player that the League One has ever seen, ever.
100%.
Anybody can disagree with me. You can come with your fact, but he is the greatest player that the League One has ever seen, and they will miss him for their PR, for the magic he created, and everything. But Cerebrone, as a big League One man, someone that has followed League One, intently over the years, what do you think the league would look like without Mbappe? Which players can we look to from Magic? Will PSG be that side again without him? Man, just give us a brief insight into how League One could look like.
So my big prediction is that PSG don't win the league next season.
I don't think it's that big.
Well, I mean, they are PSG.
Yeah,
they will always
PSG.
go out and sign. They're talking about Vara,
Even
Donna,
Osimhen.
Osimhen as well, and a bunch of other players. So we know that they will go big, because if there's one thing PSG like to do, it's make a statement when they look like they're in a weak position.
Yeah.
And so they'll probably go and splash the cash and buy some stars and all of that. And of course, that should give them an edge. That still makes them favorites. But there's one thing that Mbappe has done over the years that people just refuse to acknowledge, and it's that he has been the game changer. He has been the difference for them time and time again. There have been times when Neymar was not around, when even when he played with Messi, he was top scorer, top assister in the league. That is like a huge deal. To play in a team with Lionel Messi and out assist him while scoring more than him is crazy, and he did that. So they're not going to have that anymore. Now they have to rely on players who don't have that kind of X factor. Dembele, as good as he is as a dribbler, doesn't know how to pass, doesn't know how to cross, and he doesn't score enough. This season, Mbappe has scored 44 goals. The next guy to him is Ramos with 15 goals. That gap, who is going to be scoring the goals? It's going to have to be a team effort. So it's no longer about one man and how that man is changing things and all that. So that's an opportunity for the rest of the league to actually step up. Monaco need to get their acts together. They did well this season, coming second. If they can build on that, but that's always been the problem. Ligue 1 teams don't build on the previous season. They go backwards because maybe they have to sell players and all that. They don't keep their core. But if they can do that, if the likes of Monaco can do that, if the likes of Lyon can use the momentum they used to end this season, next season, then we're going to have something different. And guys like Cerebrone of Lille can be the star boys of the league, the face of the league.
Yeah, you can have a breast like underdogs. Breast.
Yes, exactly. Teams like that. And Nice are still owned by Ineos, who have taken over Manchester United. So
all right, okay, that makes sense. So it's probably too early to talk about the Ballon d'Or. I mean, we're still in May.
Madrid accounts are posting
but yeah, we already have people
week,
running their personal.
But the league season is done, and
the league season is done, and we already have an insight ahead of continental competitions in the summer.
Yes.
We already have some ideas of who the front runners are or who the current names are. Even where bookmakers are already releasing their odds.
Yeah.
We already have guys like Vini Jr., Bellingham, even Phil Foden. It annoys me to say that. Erling Haaland, of course, Kylian Mbappe as well. He will be on the list.
That's
yeah,
he'll be on the list.
It's not.
But these are some of the front runners, early front runners, and the Euros will still play a big part in who would go on to win it. But it's still early days. But who can you point to at this moment and say this is my early candidate for the Ballon d'Or?
My own candidate.
Yes,
your
own candidate.
My own candidate is Mbappe. It's always Mbappe. Every year is Mbappe.
Mbappe. Why?
It's Mbappe because he's scored the most goals along with Kane this season, 44 goals, and he still has one more match. Kane is done for this season. Gyökeres has 43, but he's not going to. I mean, the Euros, we know that France are favorites. So Mbappe has 44 goals. He's won the league. Kane didn't win the league, and he has Euros. If he shines in the Euros and maybe France win it, because France are favorites, if that happens, I think he wins it. But if Vini or Bellingham have good international tournaments as well, Vini is with Brazil, Copa America, the only real issue is Argentina.
And the English PR alone for Bellingham can even win it for him.
If England don't do as well,
they don't need to.
They still have Southgate.
They just need to reach quarterfinals.
If they reach quarterfinals and France should win it, Mbappe is player of tournament automatically. That already reduces his chances. Vini has a chance with Copa America, but he's never really shown up for Brazil. If he shows up this time around, then probably he wins it. But the international tournaments will be a difference maker in this thing.
Okay, so there you go from Cerebrone, Mbappe, Vini, and Bellingham. Do you agree with him, or do you have other candidates to put? Maybe Nwabali. Nwabali has done well.
No,
Don't crucify me. He has done well. He has done well this year. Choose
AFCON MVP,
AFCON
league
MVP.
winner.
Don't disrespect our players,
yeah, we're
please.
forgetting Ola Aina.
Ola Aina, Victor Boniface. Come on, don't
Victor
disrespect her.
Boniface is going to be part of those players that we nominated, because you look at the season in the German Bundesliga, winning the Invincible title, Rookie of the Year.
There you go.
Like the also on a chance of invincible treble. If they win all of them, I don't know.
Only problem is that he didn't play at AFCON.
Yeah, that's not his problem, because there was injury. But let's not forget, whether you play at AFCON or not, it might not even be like the main factor.
Yeah.
Because AFCON is played in January. I think that's one problem we have.
We're going to make it a factor, like we did in Mali 2 years ago.
No, you're the one looking at that's mostly because if you remember that season we're talking about Mane on, then the AFCON had gone. People were then talking more about the fresher.
But the reason why Mane made it was because of AFCON. It was AFCON MVP.
The only problem
I made it a duty.
I don't
so that we must put it that AFCON.
But when it came to the voting, Nigerians did not even. So
but just stream, like, highlight your top players for the Ballon.
Yes, it's always going to be Mbappe would come first.
Yeah, Mbappe.
Then Vinicius Junior.
Okay.
I think Phil Foden also stands a chance.
Okay, so you're placing Phil Foden over Bellingham.
Oh, that's true. Then Bellingham. No, I'm going to go with 4 picks.
Okay.
I know it's supposed to be going down, but I'm going to go with 4 picks. After Phil Foden, Bellingham comes in. These 3 players will be the ones we have to look out for when it comes to winning.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
I want to mention something. I think that Vinicius and Bellingham both going for it will cause problems, because it will split votes. If that final happens, Vini scores, Bellingham scores. Half the people will go Bellingham, half people will go Vini. Yeah. They split their votes.
Well, you
could still split it, and there will still be a reason that one of them could still win it.
So, what me I've learned is that all the times I've tried to be objective, it doesn't work. So I've left that behind. For me, I have only 3 picks, and Stanley Nwabali, because he has been very impressive this year. Kai Havertz, because he silenced all the haters. He has done well.
What?
The numbers are there. Kai Havertz is my second pick.